called metone, and she was told she could only be there for a short time because even the heart rhythms were very, very different, and that she really couldn't be there because it would actually hurt her for too much time.
What is interesting is that the place that she was taken to is mentioned in the Keys of Enoch, Key 211, and when we told her, and she validated this, she was just amazed and allowed us to become very, very close to her experience, which she had documented. The American extraterrestrial specialist, we would call them ufologists, had somehow decried her experience as being just so much science fiction. Mm-hmm. But when we looked at the correspondence she had from West German, British, and Russian scientists, that they had signed off to read her documentation, her papers, and to look at her physics and the diagrams she came up with in terms of her notations in her notebook, it is very, very clear that a woman of her background would not have had the mental acumen or brilliance to do what she did.
Also, what's really interesting is that her experience took place in Drakensberg, and this is a special sacred mountain region in South Africa. Now, most people have never heard of that, but it's very interesting. At the end of the movie of 2012, and I do like some of the science that they've used there, they end up having the Ark ships, I don't want to give the story away, of course, but go exactly to that place.
To Drakensberg, yeah. Which is an area where I took off my shoes and I walked to the top of this large mountainous area to say a prayer, and if you draw a line from Egypt down to South Africa, or drop a plumb line, so to speak, from the upper part of Africa down to the southern part, there you'll see a connection between Egypt and Drakensberg. It's very, very profound.
It's right by 3030 as well, which is 30 latitude, 30 longitude in the south.
So we want to say this to our radio audience. We really feel the need to think positive, to do constructive work in ecology, sociology, economics, and the other basic things. It's not simply to look at a blue sky and to waste your time thinking abstractly that things are going to simply fall in place because you work on a timeline that you know is going to go through major changes. We are here for a purpose. We are born into this dimension of planetary society to make a contribution, a very positive contribution, and the one we can contribute, I believe, is the larger cosmic picture, that we're not alone in the universe. We have got cosmic cousins, so to speak, from the distant civilizations and cultures that are looking at us as we transit this very tragic period of history where we have to learn to behave towards one another and towards Mother Earth with compassion, greater love, and greater understanding, and possibly, in a deeper sense, will we qualify as peacemakers to participate in the larger civilization and the higher evolution with the key speak of that will come upon us as we raise our consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're definitely we're under a vibrational awakening, healing, or a lifting, you might say, and I always tell people, if you're not aware of this, you're just not paying attention, because the old world is collapsing in on itself. It's on the downward spiral, and there's a whole new world that's rising up, and we need to get on the upward spiral and get busy and do our work on every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, if we are going to continue on this e-ticket, I call, this Mother Earth ride that we've chosen to come in for.
Speaking of Mother Earth, we just came out with an musical album called The Opening of the Great Pyramid, and the names of the Divine Mother. It was recorded in Egypt with musicologists, and it goes into the sacred names of God in more than 12 languages, emphasizing the feminine vibration or the compassionate vibration. And this recording is so outstanding that everyone who has heard it has remarked how marvelous the interior of the Great Pyramid is as a musical sound chamber. And we've used ancient Coptic as well as Sanskrit names, as well as Hebrew, Aramaic, even Chinese and Tibetan names of the divine feminine to bring out what I feel to be the orchestration of the inner self that has to find that female part of creativity, balance, and positive energy that must balance the masculine side of three-dimensional energy that more often than not is based upon external power, external control and management to the exclusion of the other pluralistic ingredients of life. And so we highly recommend to the radio audience to write to the website, www.keysofenoch.org, and listen to our album, The Opening of the Great Pyramid.
Right. It's not a musical entertainment so much as a musical meditation. So it's more for the energy that's present from Egypt to kind of come over into, and you really can record the sounds and of the chambers and things like that, and just bring it right into your living room, and that's what we enjoy doing.
That sounds awesome. You know, I found out I was actually born the same day Mary Magdalene was born, and I've always been very, very connected to that divine feminine. And at the age of 5, I was actually dying of bronchial pneumonia, and a being appeared to me, and I just assumed she was Mary. She had electric blue eyes, beautiful feminine energy, and stroked my head and pulled me out of the situation. So I've always felt very connected to that divine feminine, and the Pleiades energy seems to be a matriarchal energy, and it's very much moving in that direction. And one of the messages they kept giving me was that they said the Earth was originally designed, you know, the original intent was to be an Eden where everybody could evolve to their highest potential and reach their greatest expression, you know, in the physical. And basically it got hijacked, but they said it's in the process of being reset, you know, to the original intent. And there's just a huge wave of divine feminine energy coming in that is helping this process.
Of course, I couldn't agree more, but the keys say the Pleiades is the cradle and the throne of our consciousness, mostly the cradle, that even the source of our life energy, especially the genetic code and all that, comes out of the codes connected with the Pleiades. And Orion, of course, is really more of the programming synthesis of who we are and why we're here, the father kind of management energy. That's how we see it in the Keys of Enoch. By the way, we actually have a book called The Gospel of Mary, and many people think, of course, it's Mary the Virgin, but it's actually the Gospel of Mary connected with the ancient Coptics, and that was Mary Magdalene. But it's not always talking about who she is. It's mostly, you know, representing what she was talking about. I mean, she wasn't talking about herself, but she's talking about how powerful the energies are of the divine and how powerful the wisdom is that comes forth through the divine essence of the Divine Mother. So, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So this is a good example of feminist theology in the first century. In translation from the Coptic text, which Desiree and I rendered some years ago, has now been put into popular form for those who are interested. And as you know, I was trained very much in the Near Eastern languages. I did a lot of work as an archeologist, anthropologist, Egyptologist, and we were able to uncover, through the use of sacred sound vibrations, the opening to the Osiris Tomb back in 1997, which we actually had a film crew there to take and record and document all of the details in the tomb of Osiris, who happened to be, according to Egyptian mythology, the Lord of Music, bringing musical vibrations, as well as the Lord of the Underworld, which simply was a term for those earlier civilizations of intelligence in a much forgotten golden age. But in the practical sense, the politics of Egyptology is such that most of the real research never really makes it to the stage of politics, except Zawi Hawass in 1999 claimed that he was the one who uncovered the Osiris tomb. But he did mention on Fox Television that there was a team 2 years before that was there doing the research. And so we have evidence on film that we were the first to really uncover the tomb. And the interesting thing here, and I want to emphasize this again, is the forgotten part of Egyptology, which is the musical geometries, the musical linkage with the other side of how the human mind thinks. That is to say, through compassion, through love, and through consciousness celebration, which is the female side often depicted in the Egyptian hieroglyphics by the symbol of Nut, or the symbol of Isis, or the symbol of Nephthys. Any one of these symbols by itself doesn't mean much, but when you put it together, it's a whole orchestration of a musical score, allowing, as it were, some of these underground structures to resonate and to actually form a whole passage of paraphysical energy.
And James, I like what you said, of course, that we really were supposed to have Eden on Earth. And Osiris did go around and taught the people of the planet, supposedly through music, but then he had that other side of his brother, so to speak, Set, and that was the energy that then destroyed the perfection, destroyed the harmonics that we have on planet Earth, and then he was divided into 14 pieces, and it was only through the sun line that came back. So the Egyptians understood that. I think the ancient, certainly Judeo-Christians understand that, and even those of the East, that this was supposed to be a very divine planet.
Yeah, and it does seem to be. There seems to be a massive plan underway, and it's an interdimensional plan with all these different beings, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever, 9th dimensional beings